You put your foot in that. Look at this. Look at this cabbage. Are you ready to make this southern fried cabbage with bacon and onion? Honey, I tell you, it is delicious. Hello, Pearl May Puckins here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now let's get started on the best fried cabbage and bacon you will ever eat. For the ingredients, we're going to have cabbage, so a green head of cabbage. You want to make sure it's firm, a nice firm. When you squeeze it, it should be hard to push on. Bacon, onion, black pepper, chicken bouillon powder form, and seasoning salt. Now, be sure to press that like button and the bell so that when I make something else, you get notified. All right, let's get started. Now we're going to cut our cabbage, and we're probably only going to use half of the head here. I'm going to peel that off and toss that there. Make sure all your leaves are looking good, not wilted. And we're only going to use about half of this head of cabbage. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. And then we're going to cut this core out right here. And then we're not going to use this piece. It's a little too tough and hard, so we cut that out. So cut this half and half. And then with this quarter, we're going to cut this in half again. And then a rough chop, 4 or 5 cuts to make manageable pieces. Like so. And now let's get this other piece and do the same. Cut it in half. And then rough chop 4 or 5 cuts here. So we're going to take this cabbage and put it in our colander here. A large colander. So we can get ready to wash it. So put it in the sink and give it a good wash, and pick apart any pieces that are clumped together so that they saute better and fry up in the pan better. And so go ahead and pull them apart when you find them and give it a good thorough washing, because you know cabbage grows in the ground. This one's not too bad, but sometimes they can be very dirty. Give it a good washing. That should just about do it here. Now for the onion. I'm using a yellow onion, but you can use a white onion or whatever onion you have. And cut off the ends like so. And that way you have a stable base to cut it in half from. And we're only going to use half of this onion. And peel off the skin. There we go. Peel off the skin. And then we're going to go ahead and give this onion a rough dice. And so cut it in half and then just slice it like so. And little slices. All right, there we have it. Onion. I will transfer this to a bowl so that I can have it ready when it's time to add it to the dish, to the skillet. So we're going to slice our bacon into little pieces before we fry it up. So go ahead and slice the bacon in about an inch long, inch and a half long pieces, just like so. There we go. That should do it. Turn your skillet on to medium heat. I'm using a cast iron, but whatever skillet you use should be fine. And then add the bacon, chopped bacon, to the skillet. And we're going to render off the fat off of the bacon until the fat is crisped up and the meat is cooked but still tender. So we want to get that balance of the crisp fat with the tender meat. And let that go for a while. So this has been going for a couple of minutes. So I'm going to give it a stir so that it can cook evenly. So just give it a quick stir around. Every couple of minutes you want to come back and stir it. Now the bacon is done. I'm going to turn off my stove here because we've reached that point where the fat has crisped up and the meat is still tender. That perfect point for bacon. And we're going to remove it and drain it on a paper towel that I have on the plate here. So now we have to pour off some of this oil. Now I'm going to just pick up my skillet and pour it off into a metal bowl. But if you can use a spoon if you like to pour some of that fat off of the skillet. So I'm going to leave about 4 tablespoons or so of the bacon fat in the pan. Okay, cut my stove back on, the fire back on to medium, and add onions. Add my onions that we chopped earlier to the bacon oil. And let them go for saute it just a second. Fry up those onions, and I tell you, the smell is just amazing. I heard a story once about a guy who owned a hamburger place. And sometimes he wouldn't have any money for the meat. And he would just put onions on the grill. And everybody would smell them. And they would come through there and order that hamburgers. And he'd sneak out the back door and go and buy the meat. And then he'd head on back in and fry up the burgers then. Because those onions got to smelling so good, people couldn't resist it. Alright, so now add our cabbage. The cabbage we washed to the skillet. Just like that. And then we're going to add about a 1/4 cup of water. Yeah, a 1/4 cup of water. Just enough to help that cabbage render down a little bit. Place a lid on it and let it go for just a few minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, look at that. Yes, it's starting to render down a bit. Like so. Turn it over, get all that mixed up and turned over. It's looking really, really good and it's smelling amazing. It's time to add our seasonings to our cabbage. And so I'll be using some chicken bouillon. And you'll find that I do this in most of the savory dishes I make, I replace some of the salt with chicken bouillon. So I'm going to be adding the powdered form, and I believe the brand is Knorr, Knorr, and it just adds another layer of depth of flavor to your food. So 1 teaspoon of that, and black pepper to your taste. I like a lot, so I'll sprinkle it in probably about a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon, and then the seasoned salt. So add the seasoning salt, and probably about a teaspoon of that I put in there. But you do it to your taste, your liking. Okay, so that's rendered down some more, and look at that. Just beautiful. Go ahead and give it another stir. Now it's time to put the bacon that we cooked up back in there. Stir that in. Look at this here. Now everything is done. Just stir it to incorporate. Oh, this is a meal unto itself. Pair this with some cornbread, and I put the link to the cornbread recipe in the description. So click on that and make the cornbread, and then have this cabbage, honey, and look at that. I wish you could smell it. It is amazing. But that cabbage and that cornbread are gonna pair up just perfectly, and that's a whole meal right there. This cabbage is already absolutely delicious. But now I'm going to take it over the top. I'm going to put my foot in it. Oh yeah, this is good cabbage right here with the bacon and the onions. Oh yeah, just step right on it. Step on it real good. And get that seasoned right, you know. Did I ever tell you how I didn't start eating cabbage till I was an adult? You know, when I was a child, I had the first Cabbage Patch Kid. And back then, they were made out of a head of cabbage. You dress it up in the baby doll clothes and carry it around and play house with it. Well, Mama didn't like wasting food, so she would take my doll's head and cut it up and make it for dinner. And I just couldn't bring myself to eat my baby doll, you know. And so it wasn't until I was an adult that I could actually enjoy cabbage. The cabbage is now foot seasoned and ready for Walt to leave. Let's see how he likes it.
Pearl May, you sure did put your foot in this.
Oh, you like the fried cabbage, Walter?
Yeah. It reminds me, when I was a youngster, I used to live in Marshall, Texas. We had this saying, cabbage, good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you...
Well, Walter Lee Puckett, we don't want to hear your vulgarity. You just stop that talk right now.
I'm sorry.
Cabbage. Anyway, it's beans good for your heart, not cabbage. Anyway, let me taste this cabbage here. Oh, it's so good. Look at that. I can see the onions and the bacon all in there. Oh, I love some cabbage.
You can hand it back now.
You know, hold on now. There may be no better pairing than cabbage and bacon with onions. Oh, and the seasonings in here just melt it all together, and it's so good. I wish you could smell this. I wish you could taste it. Go ahead and make it for yourself. And then in the comment section, let me know how it turned out. I know you're going to love it. And if you haven't made that cornbread recipe, I'm going to put a link to the cornbread recipe. Because those two, cabbage and cornbread together, so good. All right. Go ahead. If you didn't already, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and the bell.
Well, that's enough talking.
All right, well, here you go. You can have it back. Yeah. Cabbage. Good for your heart. I don't know what to do with you. You put your foot in that.